Hello everyone. So the Wolves fans' protests continue against Brentford the weekend. Some news on Muller Wolfe and Munetsi amongst others, with January coming up. And yeah, let's get into it. So, do you know what? Let's start with the protest plans. So we know the story. After, I think what really triggered it was the Forest loss, the Nottingham Forest loss at home. Then there was a quick plan of action for Man United. We all know it. Outside the Billy Wright, thousands were there, and then I would say about 30% of fans took part in the 15-minute boycott against Man United, which Sky heavily covered. And yeah, it made an impact because then Wolves have reacted, particularly Jeff Shee, because he ended up doing an interview with BBC WM, which was pretty much a result of the open letters from the fan groups, and obviously the FAB meeting. He said there, when it was put to him why there no communication, he said, look, I'll do credible media, did BBC WM. It went bad, it did, but all these protests and letters have made an impact, and it is getting the club to communicate one way or another now. And I think there will be more communication going forward with the fan groups and fans in general, just to try and get the protests to calm down and then try and lay across the actual vision that Wolves have got going forward, particularly next season in the Championship. So what's the plan for the next protest? Now, it was hard to know what to do to follow up with. I'm in the WhatsApp group with all the other fan groups discussing it, and I'll be honest, the old goal pack have led the way a lot. They're even if things are not fully agreed, they just go and do what they think is right, which I really do respect, because if they didn't do that last time with the 15-minute boycott one, we'd be nowhere right now. So fair play to them for that. So what they've decided to do is, on the minute 18 and minute 77, is to ask everybody to hold up a banner saying "Our Club." That's the plan. And I've seen mixed reactions to it, but let's just read out what the letter said that we all put out yesterday. It just says, "Our club, our voice. If you care about the future of our club, make yourself seen at Molineux in the 18th and 77th minute. Hold up your Our Club sign. Show them what it means to be a Wolfrunian. How to join in, download and print and grab your sign below. Print it at home and bring it with you. Can't print? We'll have a limited number of copies ready for you outside the ground." So look, not everybody's going to do this. They're not going to want to print it off. They're probably not even going to want to hold up a sign, because as we know, not 100% of match-going fans are on board with these protests. But I think it's good to keep the momentum going. There was discussions to ask for a 15-minute boycott again, but it's not on TV, is it, Brentford, in the UK, because it's 3 o'clock. As we know, most games are shadow banned at 3 o'clock in the UK still. And to keep gathering outside the Billy Wright, you've got to pick. I reckon you've got to pick and choose the right moments, haven't you? When they're broadcast on big channels like Monday Night Football against Man United. So this keeps it going. This shows, just because we had a decent performance at Arsenal, that we're not going away, because we're still pretty upset with Jeff Shee's interview for BBC WM and really want to know what's going on with this club and their ambitions for the future. But there we go. I've seen mixed reactions to this. I've seen people say it's too tame. It's too tame. And people, but it's so hard to know what to do. At least we're trying, the fan groups. At least the old goal pack have led the way again and trying. So it'd be interesting to see how many get involved. I think there's more plans for Shrewsbury, but it's controversial one, Shrewsbury in the FA Cup. So it's not fully committed in the group with the Shrewsbury protest plan. So yeah, not everybody's happy about that. So we'll see what happens with that, with the protests going forward. And I hope this can pick up some kind of media coverage, and I hope it continues to send the message that we're not happy with the way the club is being run, and particularly with the actions of our chairman, Jeff Shee. Anyway, let's get on to a little bit of news. So Marshall Munetsi has been in the news. It says that clubs in League One are keeping an eye on Marshall Munetsi's situation at Wolves, with departures back to France possible this winter. Now, we know Munetsi's injured at the moment, but yeah, I can see him moving. I think he's on good wages. He's getting on a bit now, isn't he? Would he want to stick around in the Championship with Wolves? Probably not. He's been a little bit out of favour lately anyway. I know he started Rob Edwards' first game, but then he was dropped. So, and he gets a bit of criticism off the fans, so he probably will want to go home, won't he, Munetsi? Would he be decent in the Championship? Maybe. Different option. Someone to, he's got the physicality, hasn't he, and the work rate for the Championship. So, be interesting to see Munetsi's future, but it looks like he could be heading back to France. Another first teamer, he definitely is at the moment, is David Moller Wolfe. He is reportedly being checked out, and Brighton are keeping tabs on him. So they're looking at the situation. So if Wolves get relegated, Brighton are keen to get David Muller Wolfe. And I think this shows there probably is a player in there, because Brighton have got a very, very high successful rate of getting decent players, haven't they? They always seem to get gems. So they rate him. He's been starting for Wolves the last few games under Rob Edwards. So Rob Edwards definitely rates him. And it'll be interesting to see there. But yeah, David Muller Wolfe, Norway international. He'd probably want to stay in the Premier League, wouldn't he? Could be going to Brighton. There's also a bit of an update on Fer Lopez. Again, Celta Vigo there, higher ups have been talking. They definitely want to take him back on loan. And I think they've actually made an approach for that. So we'll see what happens with that. I personally want him to stick around, because I'd love to see him stay at Wolves for next season. And he come on against Arsenal, did he, and did okay. And I'd love to see him start going forward and get more minutes. There's reports as well that Besiktas want Bellegarde, but because of his injury that he's picked up recently, and he's out for like 6 weeks, that probably won't happen this January. But Besiktas also want Agbadou, don't they? As we know, as I did a video on that the other week. And Enzo Gonzalez may go out on loan too in January to get some first team football somewhere in Europe, maybe, because he wants to try and play for Paraguay at an international level. And then, yeah, John Arias, more links with him. It keeps coming up that teams in Brazil want him, and it's unknown whether Wolves have had any contact, but John Arias really could be going this January window. And as I've said before, I don't mind it, because it hasn't worked out, and I'm sure he's not happy here as well, so he'd probably be up for going home back to Brazil. But yeah, there'll be a lot more videos on the January stories, obviously, in the coming weeks. Please comment your thoughts on the protest ideas. Be honest, because it helps when we discuss it in the fan groups. Please like the video. Please subscribe if you're new. Really appreciate the support as always. And yeah, like the video, and I'll catch you next time, everyone. Cheers.